Fox 5 health news, and last year's flu vaccine was not very effective, but officials are saying don't let that stop you from getting one this year. The CDC says this year's vaccine should be much better.
All right, joining us now is Dr. Devi from the NYU School of Medicine. You believe the word that this year's is better. They just had an off year last year.
I think so, yeah, because not just that this year will be better, but last year was really one of the worst in the past decade, so last year was more of an outlier.
I got you. So year in, year out, you're always best served to get the shot, and
sure. And
year.
The reason why it varies, the reason why there's a difference is because there isn't just one flu virus. So it's basically kind of like thinking of it as a family, and you've got different members. So they're slightly different from each other. So what happens is these companies make a forecast about what type of flu virus is coming in the fall, and they have to start making the vaccine in the winter. So if that forecast is wrong, kind of like a weather forecast, yeah, they might not pick the right ones. So in this case, at least the ones that they started banking on back in January or February, it looks like it's the same flu virus strains that are coming this fall. So that's a good thing.
Oh, I got you. And along those lines, to stick on the vaccine theme, they came up during the Republican debate, and many in the medical field aren't happy with what was said. Donald Trump and others have linked vaccines to autism, which the medical community disputes. Where are you on this? It does seem like this has become like a thought that people can take or not take, but the science doesn't back up the ideas being put forward.
Well, there are two different things of interest here. So autism itself, of course, we should be spending more time and energy trying to find out what's going on there. And Donald Trump was right that the rates have been going up over the past 25 to 35 years. But we don't know why that is exactly. It could be anything in the environment. I mean, there are a lot of things that have changed over those few decades, right? But the way that the vaccine issue came up in the first place was that a couple decades ago, one scientist said that there was a link, and he fabricated all this data. So it was basically a fraud, and it was published in a major medical journal. Now that
gets repeated and repeated.
Yeah,
and repeated,
it got publicized a lot. So that link came out, but actually there have been several studies since then because people followed up on that work, and they show that there is no link. Now, once it's been raised, the problem is that, you know, then it's out there, so it's hard to convince people it's not true.
Very, very painful and controversial.
Of course.
Information.
Yeah, and the thing is, along those lines too, once there's that idea of fraud, even if he lied, I think it makes people question whether the next doctor is right, right? Or how do you know who's right and who's wrong? So that is a valid question, but at least here the CDC and a lot of other institutions have really researched it more afterwards to make sure.
It does seem like there's a lot of politicization of medicine and things that were sort of previously
before we put a bow on this, just remind people again who should be leery about getting the vaccine.
Getting the flu vaccine?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's anybody over the age of 6 months. It's not dangerous below that age. The problem is that it won't work because the mother's immune system is usually still protecting the baby. So the baby actually needs to be a little older for their immune system to learn from the vaccine.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Heavy topics heading into the weekend, but we needed to do it.
It's so hard to think about the flu in winter when it's over the top.
When it's 85 degrees outside, exactly.
It'll be easier to think of that in a couple weeks, though, I'm sure. But in the meantime, we're just enjoying this, right?
Always good to plan ahead.